This is Ray Martinez. Thank you for joining me again on this mini podcast. This particular episode, we're going to explore the powerful message of Romans 8 and how it answers the question, who will deliver me from this struggle of being a sinner, doing the very thing that God hates? This was what Paul was talking about. When you read Romans 8 verses 1 through 2, Paul tells us that there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. It is through Jesus that we are delivered from the power of sin and death. We are no longer under the law of sin and death, but under the law of the Spirit of life. In Romans 8 verses 5 through 8, Paul explains that those who lived according to the flesh are hostile to God. But those who live according to the Spirit have their minds set on what the Spirit desires. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. In Romans 8, verses 9 through 11, Paul affirms that the Spirit of God dwells in us and gives us assurance of our future resurrection. The same Spirit who raised Jesus from the dead is alive in us and gives life to our mortal bodies. In Romans 8, verses 12 through 17, Paul reminds us that we are children of God and heirs with Christ. We have received the Spirit of adoption, by whom we cry out, Abba, Father. This is a powerful reminder of our identity in Christ and the hope that we have in Him. In Romans 8, verses 18 through 25, Paul encourages us to persevere in faith, even in the midst of suffering. He reminds us that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. The whole creation groans in anticipation of the redemption that will come through Christ. In Romans 8, verses 26 through 30, Paul tells us that the Spirit helps us in our weakness and intercedes for us with groans that words cannot be expressed. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. For those He foreknew, He also predestined to be conformed to the image of His Son, that He might be the firstborn among many brothers and sisters. In Romans 8, verses 31 through 39, Paul concludes with a powerful declaration of God's love and faithfulness. If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare His own Son, but gave Him up for us all, how will He not also, along with Him, graciously give us all things? Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall trouble or hardship or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us. I like that verse because he says we don't just conquer, but he says we go beyond that. We're more than just a conqueror. In conclusion, Romans 8 is a powerful reminder of our identity in Christ and the hope we have in Him. Let us live out our faith by walking in the Spirit and being led by Him. A life transformed by the message of Romans 8 finds deliverance from the struggle of sin and discovers the boundless love and hope found in Christ. A transformed life finds liberation from the struggle of sin and discovers boundless love and hope in Christ, as revealed in the powerful message of Romans 8. Charles Stanley says it this way: I consider Romans 8 to be the greatest chapter in the entire Bible. It reveals the incredible power of God's love and the assurance of our victory in Christ. You have a blessed day.